Back to African Colonization TV and Biafran history. Here we'll give you everything happens about Biafra, Nigeria, and things happening around the world. In fact, in this video topic is titled that the exposure of Mazi Simon Ekpa being in prison. The exposure of Mazi Simon Ekpa being sentenced in prison. So in this video today, it is a secret that is now coming up concerning Mazi Simon Ekpa PM. The main reason why Nigerian government, DOS, joined hand with the Nigerian government and Finland to sentence him, so that he will stop agitating. In fact, this video contains a lot of video and a lot of information we have to share with you people. So I would like you to watch it to the end. Don't skip any part of it, because every day we'll come here to give you a latest updates, things going on, and the things that is happening in Nigeria and around the world. Because as you can see, the Nigerian government, they are afraid of what is coming. They are afraid of what is coming, and they don't even know what will be the next step, since all those why the way the America is giving them hits concerning the reason of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and also the UN, the way they are calling on issue of Biafra always. It is something that they don't even know how to hide it, but some of them, they run and they went to sentence Simon Ekpa, and they thought that that would be the end, because once they sentence Simon Ekpa, then they will now have full chance to sentence Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And finally they did it, but they thought that it will stop the agitation. They don't know it will even rise in the agitation. Just watch by yourself and see the truth and see the thing that's going on right now in the US, in Nigerian government, and the things happening around the world. I was about to watch, like, subscribe, and share for everyone to see things going on in Biafra land.
The freedom of Biafra is sure.
Recording in progress.
Let me begin by saying Biafra exists. Biafra exists. When I analyze, it's important to recognize the obvious. It's willful blindness to embrace some of the excuses which the West uses to avoid discussing the autonomy, the freedom, the liberty, and the independence of Biafra. It is not climate change, but deliberate murder. Climate change doesn't hire Fulani gangs to rape and murder in Biafra. The authorities in Abuja do. And we need to recognize that reality. Too often, the State Department, the European Union, the African Union defer to the powerful against the weak. But that's not how human rights work. When it comes to the abuses of the Nigerian government, they must be held to account. When Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of Nigeria and a war criminal from the days of the first Biafra genocide, he took Nigeria off the State Department's religious freedom watch list.
Greetings, my wonderful people. It's 30th of June 2026. I am back again with another update for all Biafrans, both in the homeland and in diaspora. So this particular video where they watch is not a recent video. Una know me, the one will be old video, I go tell you say na old video. The one will be new video, I go tell you say this one na new update. This particular video was made on the day that United States of Biafra was declared in 2024 on November 29, 2024 in Lahti, Finland. That was the day that this US journalist made this video. He said a lot here. Do not worry. I'll be playing the remaining part of this video so that when I go see the reason why the West, according to him, the reason why the West was denying or were trying to cover up that Biafra does not exist, that a nation called Biafra never exists. The reason why they were trying to wipe off everything concerning Biafra, you are going to be hearing the detail, including other things that he said concerning Biafra freedom. You are going to see it, my people, and also the need for Biafra to exist and to exist Nigeria. We are going to be watching the video also. Yes, so our brother Joseph Okechukwu don't come out to tell us that Nigeria don't already buy with a lot of proofs. You are going to be seeing all of that inside this video. So my advice to anybody that is watching this video to watch it to the very end so that you'll be able to grab the detail where they inside. But before we go watch all of this video, please, I have just one update, one headline that I want all of us to be aware of. Yes, so a latest update concerning Simon Ekpa's court appeal and Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's appeal. Yes, so let us see it. Then we'll go watch other videos. The update says, breaking: Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's appeal date and Mazen Simon Ekpa's appeal date are in the same month but just on a different days. If you get irritated with the way Mazen Nnamdi Kanu preaches the gospel, that is to say, you cannot comprehend the truth. If you get irritated the way Mazen Simon Ekpa preaches the gospel, that is to say, you cannot comprehend the truth. At some point, Nigeria government begin to recognize the way Mazen Nnamdi Kanu runs his agitation, and they despise Mazen Simon Ekpa's method because Simon was brutal, and they know that if they leave Simon, that he will get Biafra sooner than everyone think. SDOS confirmed it when they said that even if Simon Ekpa gets Biafra, that they won't come back. Hear him. Ikenga also confirmed it when he said that Simon need to be stopped because he is getting it right. At the time, Mazen Simon Ekpa, at the time of Mazen Simon Ekpa, Nigeria was on a hot seat that have made them to prefer Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's method of agitation. So guys, this headline here, they try to let us know, see, that Nigeria government, having seen the kind of method, the type of method that Mazen Simon Ekpa was using to get Biafra, that it was quite different from Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's own, because if they give them woto, and if they allow him, he's going to get Biafra sooner than anyone think. That was why they connive with Finland government to jail Mazen Simon Ekpa. They jailed Mazen Simon Ekpa, but they did not jail Biafra. For where? So guys, I'm going to be playing the video, the remaining part of this video. Let us listen to all the things where this US journalist said concerning Biafra, how Nigeria government, they try to wipe away the memory of Biafra. They try to stop Biafra from existing. After that, we'll go hear from our brother.
The freedom of Biafra is sure.
Recording in progress.
Let me begin by saying Biafra exists. Biafra exists. When I analyze, it's important to recognize the obvious. It's willful blindness to embrace some of the excuses which the West uses to avoid discussing the autonomy, the freedom, the liberty, and the independence of Biafra. It is not climate change, but deliberate murder. Climate change doesn't hire Fulani gangs to rape and murder in Biafra. The authorities in Abuja do. And we need to recognize that reality. Too often, the State Department, the European Union, the African Union defer to the powerful against the weak. But that's not how human rights work. When it comes to the abuses of the Nigerian government, they must be held to account. When Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of Nigeria and a war criminal from the days of the first Biafra genocide, he took Nigeria off the State Department's religious freedom watch list. The United States and all other countries must calibrate our policies towards the reality of the way things are, rather than the way we wish things would be. The fact of the matter is, on any watch list for religious freedom, Nigeria should be on its blacklist. It should be its worst tier, because reality cannot be ignored, nor should human rights of all those in Biafra be swept under the bus. Frankly, if Nigeria spent as much energy hunting the perpetrators of violence against the Igbo as they do pressuring Finland to punish the free speech of Biafra's leaders, Nigeria would be a much better place. Unfortunately, rather than reform, rather than embrace liberty, rather than embrace self-determination, Nigeria seems to embrace transnational repression. And that is why all Biafra activists in Finland should be free. Now, a lot of people will look at Biafra and say, you know, we've never heard of Biafra. That reflects their ignorance and their ignorance of history rather than the necessary reality. But then you will have some naysayers who will say, why are you declaring independence, redeclaring independence in Finland rather than in Biafra itself? And again, that reflects an ignorance of history for those who might criticize. After all, Czechoslovakia declared its independence in Washington, D.C., right near where I sit now. And no one suggested that the Czechs and the Slovaks didn't deserve their freedom. The fact of the matter is, when one faces a lethal threat and lethal repression, you need to assert your freedom wherever you may be, but that doesn't forfeit your rights to your homeland. So, when it comes to Biafra, what I see is everything being done right. Let me put it this way. Again, I say this as an academic. I've been to many places around the world in which people desire their freedom. I've been to Iraqi Kurdistan, Turkish Kurdistan, and Syrian Kurdistan. And I've written a book where, while I empathize with the Kurds, they are not yet ready for independence because they have not taken the basic steps to form a unitary government that can step into the vacuum on day one and lead their people. That is something that the Biafrans have, the mistake the Biafrans have not made. What I see today with the organization of the Biafrans has been absolutely and completely admirable. You are not simply symbolically declaring independence. You are setting in motion a government which can take over all functions of the government. Now, some people may complain that Biafra now has its own army, and they may say that is a terrorist action. They are wrong. It is the job of any government to monopolize the use of force within its territory. The Nigerian army is the occupying army right now. Its job is not to monopolize the use of force within Biafra, because they have shown when they use force, they use it not for security, but to perpetrate insecurity. They use it to murder, they use it to rape, they use it to charter buses, to bring in militias, so that naive people may believe that they have nothing to do with what is going on in the region. Now, I'm a historian by training, which means I get paid to predict the past. Also, speaking of pay, let me be clear. I am receiving nothing for my advocacy for Biafra. I have been offered nothing. I have demanded nothing, and I am receiving nothing. Nor would it even be legal for me to accept money from anyone. I am speaking only as an analyst and only as someone who wants to further liberty. Now, I ask as a historian, where has it worked to force the victims of genocide together with their perpetrators? Where in history has that ever worked? Aggressors must understand that if they turn to genocide, they will always lose. The fact of the matter is, Nigeria lost Biafra in 1967. They may have won the war temporarily, but they permanently lost Biafra. The decisions they made 57 years ago forfeited any rights they have to control, to occupy, to speak on behalf of the people of Biafra. Let me conclude by saying, as an analyst again, I don't think the United States will be the first country to recognize Biafra. But I pray that it won't be the third country either. Biafra to move from Finland and to lobby vociferously.
So guys, when I don't hear everything when in talk, right? Yes, so I'm going to be playing another video clip now for you. And in this particular video that you're about to watch, the human rights activist, our brother Joseph Okechukwu, revealed that Nigeria is gone. In his words, he said, "This is how they killed Nigeria." My people, take your time, watch this video and see how they killed Nigeria. Biafra have already gone. Yes, so we have left Nigeria. Nigeria no say they know they exist again, but Biafra must forever exist.
Going to crave your indulgence to come with me on a beautiful journey to discover. All right, a lot of you must have seen what Nigeria has finally become. It's an eyesore. It is worse than saying that someone or something has become a shadow of itself. It is way beyond that. We've come to the point where we've gone from a Christian genocide, which has now been roundly proven beyond any reasonable doubt, which is taking place in Nigeria, has been taking place for the better part of the last 2 decades. We've gone from that now to people clearly and boldly declaring that what is happening in Nigeria is a jihad. And I will say to you that those who are saying this now are very late. We've always known this. We're going to dig a little deeper today to make sense of all this madness that is taking place in Nigeria, so you can understand why they are pumping in so much money. The regime in Nigeria is spending over $9-point-something million. At one time, the one that was reported was about $9.3 million paid to lobbyists, DCI, in America, to sugarcoat the disaster that Nigeria has become, to sugarcoat the ongoing Christian genocide taking place in Nigeria.
When the American intervention came first with the 2 tweets and then the Christmas Day intervention, instead of Nigerians to respond positively to what the intervention that the American government made through Donald Trump, let me tell you what the Nigerian response was. Nigeria flooded the United States of America with money. To do what? To deny that there was a Christian genocide. We all know that we have more than enough documentation, more than enough clout to show that there really was a Christian genocide going on. Nigeria, that will not take care of its citizens at home, officially, publicly released $10 million to a lobby firm, but from the charter in Washington, Nigeria's money in Washington that has been sent to neutralize what Trump has been doing is almost $150 million.
Not to stop it, not to lobby lawmakers to get involved and help to stop it and destroy the terrorists, but to tell the world that it is not happening, it's not going on. Please lie for us, make us look good in the eyes of the world, tell them there's no Christian genocide, just the same way that Blinken, who served as the Secretary of State under Biden, concluded that what was going on in Nigeria were just mere skirmishes between farmers and herders, and because of it, they took away, less than 1 year in office, they took away the country of particular concern label that Trump slammed Nigeria with during his first term in office. So people are asking, who stands to benefit the most in this ongoing genocide, which we have now all come to a conclusion is a pure, full-blown jihad declared on Nigeria? Who stands to benefit the most? Who inspires it? Watch this video.
It goes back to the Muslim conquest of the north with Usman Dan Fodio and the Fulani Hausa conquest of the north, and the north becomes Muslim. And when the British colonized the north in 1900, what do we, the British, do? We very cleverly rule with a few hundred district offices through the Muslim emirs. It was the best thing that ever happened to Islam in Nigeria, because before then, if you were a Muslim, you went, say, to the Tiv area, what would happen? You'd be dead. Under the British, you could go as a Muslim trader and you could live and you could spread your message of Islam. So the British enabled Islam to spread in Nigeria, and the British stopped the spread of Christianity because Lugard kept missionaries out of the north. He only let missionaries go to the parts that were not under Muslim rule, like the Jos Plateau. So the Christian church in the Middle Belt thrived in areas that had never been conquered by the House of Fulani. Why are there huge areas of the north of Nigeria depopulated today? The answer is jihad. Because those who weren't enslaved by the House of Fulani or conquered by the House of Fulani, they either died by the sword or they fled to the hills, like the plateau, like the Gwoza Hills in Bornu. And in those hills, when I was there in the 1970s, there were no Muslims, none whatsoever. The people followed African traditional religion and were becoming Christians. Because down on the plain, it was the Muslim Kanuri, and they're the ones that slave raided. So what's going on today in the Middle Belt? It's nothing to do with herdsmen and farmers. It's nothing to do with Muslim herdsmen, nomadic Fulani, and settled Christian farmers. No, and it's certainly nothing to do with climate change driving out the Fulani. This is quite simply jihad. This is just an extension of Usman Dan Fodio's jihad by other means.
Did you hear that for yourself? Did you hear that? The British enabled the spread of Islam, and the British stopped the spread of Christianity because Lord Lugard kept missionaries away from the north. The British. I have read this in history books. I have made videos about this. The people who enabled the spread of radical Islam, the British. There is a British man who was in Nigeria, lived in the era we are talking about, and he is telling you the truth, raw as it is. And this is the same British we are told are Christians. We hold the country as the birthplace of some of our Christian denominations, like Methodist, Lutheran, and the rest of them. These are the same people. When we tell people that all those religious clothings or cloaks that they put on the outside are just what you call veneer, people don't understand. Veneer is something that you use to create a facade, just to mask, give a different impression from what is on the inside. It's almost like saying a wolf in sheep clothing, right? You see, let the whole world see you as a sheep, but then on the inside you know that you are a ravenous wolf. This is what they use Christianity to do. Veneer, to cover who they really are on the inside. No wonder our king is wishing these people, the Muslims, the whatever during Salah, but then couldn't wish us anything during Easter. And people are wondering what is going on. And it's just rumored all over the place. Is King Charles a Muslim? Is this and that? Look at the history. Look at what the UK has become today. They're telling you to your face. This is where it came from. The same Lord Lugard, whom I call the son of the devil, also had his footprints left in Sudan. Have you seen what has become of Sudan? If it is not for the prayers of God's people in Nigeria, Nigeria would have been 10 times worse than Sudan. Just to show you that these people are diabolical subhuman elements. Evil personified. Look at these footprints. Look at Nigeria. Look at that other place. Jihad. The diabolical satanic concoction, amalgamation that they cooked is what you and I are still battling with today. That is what basically explains that whole idea of divide and conquer, divide and rule, or divide to rule. They saw that there are component parts in Nigeria absolutely incompatible. It's almost like oil and water. And they said if we leave them to thrive individually on their own, they are going to become too powerful. Eastern Nigeria will become too powerful, probably even be the Japan of Africa. If you leave the West, if you leave the North, no, especially Eastern Nigeria, who are geniuses. On top of that, they now sit on top of the deposits that God has given them. Oil, everything, gas. How can you have all of that in one and you are left alone? No, they say no. Let's bring in incompatible other units and lump them with those so that for the rest of their lives they are fighting day and night, tooth and nail, never agreeing on anything. If you doubt me, go and check from the very day, from the very moment Nigeria was amalgamated, they had many disagreements. From the moment they claimed they had given you independence, Nigerians were, in fact, the complaining about corruption and disagreements and all of this nonsense going on today was even stronger then. So we didn't start today. It was something that is a no-brainer. Put incompatible units together, there will be serious tension and they will fight. So they lumped us into this cage, and before they could do that, as I revealed in some of the videos I've done in the past, there were a lot of human sacrifices that God revealed to me took place, which is how they were able to hold us down. We're fighting each other to stupor, and they are laughing us to scorn and playing us like drafts every day. of their lives. And now they are heading towards the end game. And that's why I'm making this video. So pay attention, please, and come with me. There was something that happened a few years ago. I made a video, and I'm going to let you watch that video. I stumbled on a video called Military Tattoo. It happened in Scotland. It looks like it's something that happens every year. I can't remember. But I made a video about it. Because the imagery that I saw that came out of that event in Scotland, it startled me. I took the video, I watched it over and over again, and I understood by the Spirit what was going on. So I made a video about it to explain how that the British basically told the whole world at that event how they control Nigeria and its incompatible regions together. Before I explain to you more, take a look at that video. The military had performed so well, and their performance was amazing. Like I said when I began, there was something that happened. Suddenly they formed a square, like a fence, and all the ethnic groups in Nigeria jumped into that fence, protected by the military or shielded by the military, and they began to perform. Why is it that all the ethnic groups in Nigeria came into a shield and military is the only shield they had protecting them? Can we go back to history again and see whether there's a place we can relate this to? So in this book by A.H.M. Kirk Green, I want to read you something that will shock you that you may never have heard anywhere else before. It says, Sir Frederick has earned the notorious distinction of being the originator of a system of government, the product of his exuberant imagination, entitled the Nigerian system. That system has, in the pregnant words of ex-Judge Stoker, been described as a setback to a condition of things resembling the barbarous ages. A setback, it is a system created by who? By Lord Lugard. And look how he described it. He said, a product of his exuberant imagination. Nigerian system is not in existence anywhere on earth, maybe apart from maybe Sudan, where Lord Lugard also left his footprints. The three basic principles necessary for the successful working of the Nigerian system are: number one, ignorance; number two, fear; and number three, military terrorism. That is to say, the perpetuation of the natives in a state of idolized ignorance, the impregnation of their minds with an instinctive dread of the white man, and the reverential awe for the fetish of white prestige, and the paralyzation of their wills by the spectacle of military terrorism hanging over their heads like a sword of Damocles. You know, when you are ignorant, then you are proud of being ignorant. That is what is called idolized ignorance. This is what Lord Lugard created. Without this type of ignorance, Lord Lugard's principle says Nigeria will never function unless there is ignorance, fear, and military terrorism. These are the three pillars on which Nigeria has been built according to the amalgamation theory of Lord Lugard. Military terrorism. Terrorism here doesn't mean terrorism as in Boko Haram. Terrorism means like terrorizing, like the way you meet somebody and say this man is terrorizing the woman. That is the type of thing they mean here. Military might. This is what is talking about. Without the military, the Nigerian system will collapse. As you can see from this video, it is so clear, so obvious from the way I explained, there's nobody who won't understand that what Nigeria has become to the British, or what they created it to become, is like a little piece of real estate, a business enterprise, a company, LLC, a company rather than a country. That's why one white British historian said that the Nigerian system is something that is not in existence anywhere in the world. I have another video that explains that too. It is not in existence anywhere in the world. It was something that was created out of the figment of the imagination of Lord Lugard. They have never seen it anywhere. It is something that actually moves in reverse. So what it means is that if you have any forward-thinking idea in Nigeria, you will naturally wither. You will not prosper. You will not be supported. You will not go far. But when you have a backward idea, an idea that derails, an idea that destroys rather than build, an idea that moves everything to the rear side, you will find so many allies immediately flocking around you. That's the way the system is built. This is why the system will never be able to produce a good leader. Even if you're good and you enter into the system, you will be corrupted instantly on your day one in office. That is what Lord Lugard created. So this video explains how that they created this monster called the Nigerian system and used it to cage the incompatible units that could have been thriving on their own, and use it to cage all of us. And then what did they use to build the fence to protect this monster that they built? This is the piece of real estate. It is the military. If you watched up my video, you will see how I broke it down and explained the relationship between the military and the ordinary Nigerians. There's no love lost at all. Nobody called a Nigerian civilian has any serious love for the military. And the military, if you cross their path, you are finished. It is not like the military you find in different other nations, in developed countries. Never. Because they were created to keep their minds on one thing. Their eyes are fixated on one thing, making sure that this incompatible, traditionally and potentially unworkable system that Nigeria has built, that it stays the same way. Even though it is known to be unworkable, even though they know that it has all the potentialities for things that will collapse and crumble, their job is to make sure that whatever may happen to make it crumble, that they will prevent it by force and by every means possible. So they are the guardians and the guardsmen looking over. That's why if you want the military to pay you a visit, get serious about saying that you want Nigeria to break apart. Do you have any name ringing bell today? Nnamdi Kanu. The moment you wake up and get serious about saying Nigeria needs to be dismembered, you are going to do what? You are going to see the military coming to you. Biafra. Even though they never wanted even Biafra to happen, they went to Aburi Accord and went and signed. It wasn't like they were still discussing. They even signed. Let us have it so that there will be independence, so that there will be autonomy in the regions. That was what Aburi had agreed. Regional government. Let there be autonomy in the regions. Let's have a reconstructed union so that the West can thrive independently on their own. The North can thrive on their own. The East can thrive on their own. They will still be a part of the same common unit, Nigeria. You can even call it Union of Nigerian States, which I had already proposed in the past or whatever. But let them, we are still part of the same country, but then they will have the autonomy to function independently. And when that was signed and agreed, because it made sense to everyone, I mean, Ghanaians would have been dazed and bewildered if Gowon, who was there on behalf of Nigeria, had said, no, I don't want this, because it was the only commonsensical conclusion for everybody. But he agreed to it there because it was going to be foolish and stupid for him to have rejected. But the moment he came back, the guys who own the real estate and the local scammers who claim to be the cabals, they descended on Gowon and they impressed it upon him not to honor what had been signed in Aburi, which was why the Biafran war happened. And that's why I'm going to make out time to break down the BBC documentary, okay, Surviving Biafra, to show you how that they intentionally skipped that part of the story in their documentary. This was what happened. The military was created to make sure.
That is it. In fact, this is an open secret. That is why we tell you that you should keep on watching, liking whenever you see the video, like and share. and make sure you comment down below. Everything that you are seeing in the video, starting from the beginning to the end, is the truth, nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. The issue of making Nigeria to remain one is just to make people to keep fighting themselves so that they will not understand what it means to be a freedom or to be as a free man. That is it. And if you listen to Mazen Kano's speech, his document, and then when he was still speaking, when they have not kidnapped him, this is the revelation he has been saying about revealing a lot of secrets concerning Nigeria. And that is the main reason why the government sentenced him. They don't want him to come out to talk anything again. They just want to silence him forever. And that is what is here. Once you have risen up, start leaking the secrets of this country and start teaching people what they did, the colonial masters, which is Lord Lugard did, that is wrong, that is destroying this country. Starting from that day, you become the enemy of the country. What they will tell you is that it is God that make Nigeria one. Not God. It is made by a human being for people to subjugate people, for people to keep suffering. That is what they make Nigeria to be. Well, a lot is happening and a lot is going on. I'll let you comment down below, like, subscribe, and share for everyone to see things going on in Nigeria. So thank you for watching.